Hi, my name's Dr. Catherine Hughes from Crime Psych. I'm a criminal psychologist and I run a business that enables me to bring knowledge and learning to everyone, not just those who study at colleges and university. I do this by producing a range of blogs, vlogs and free online courses, but I also run slightly more in-depth courses, both online and face-to-face. You don't need any previous qualifications to learn with me, and there are several different courses available. Have a look at my website and see if you can make it to an event or learn online in your own time. This particular video is going to do a psychological analysis of Reynhard Sinaga. He was recently featured in the news after being given a minimum sentence of 30 years for attacks on 48 men in Manchester. Sinaga was prosecuted in a total of 4 trials between 2018 and 2020. He was given 88 concurrent life sentences with a minimum term of 30 years. He is thought to have had around 190 victims in total, and that now makes him the most prolific rapist in UK history. Sinaga was born in Indonesia in 1983 and he studied architecture there before moving to England. He moved to the UK on a student visa and began to study in 2007 at Manchester University. He completed an MSc degree in planning in 2009 and an MA in sociology in 2011. In 2012, he began to study for a PhD in Leeds University and he submitted his thesis, which was entitled Sexuality and Everyday Transnationalism Amongst South Asian Gay and Bisexual Men in Manchester. His thesis was assessed to be a fail, though. He was financially supported by his father, who was a banker and then moved into the palm oil industry. But his level of education shows how intelligent he was. He came from a good, supportive family who financed his many studies around the world. His family were Catholic and Sinaga even attended a church while he was in England. He obviously engaged with that church because they even provided a character reference for him for his first trial. The church did distance itself from Sinaga after his conviction, though. While he was in Manchester, Sinaga lived openly as a gay man and he lived not far from Manchester's gay village, and he reportedly had many boyfriends. Indonesia is a predominantly Muslim country, and in that country marriage and procreation is paramount. In a 2017 article written in The Guardian, an unidentified gay Indonesian man said that 80% of gay men in Indonesia marry a woman due to family or societal pressures. He says that they mostly marry girls from villages who don't understand about gay life. Although I only have access to publicly available information from a variety of sources, I can confidently say that Sinaga's homosexuality is the main factor in his offending. He will have faced several challenges in his own country and wouldn't have been able to live the life he wanted to. Sinaga's mother told the Sunday Times that she wasn't aware that he was gay. She stated, "We are a good Christian family who do not believe in homosexuality. Here's my baby." And this would have caused a lot of psychological conflict within Sinaga. He knew he was gay and he lived openly as a gay man in England. However, he would have hid this from his parents. He's a fairly small-framed, unassuming man, and he didn't come across as violent to the people that knew him. In fact, one friend said that he knew him from the gay village and he described him as just being nice, meek and inoffensive. He told the Guardian newspaper that he couldn't imagine him even getting a parking ticket or telling somebody off, and said that he was such a square. He will have been brought up in a society that openly condemns homosexuality. There would have been open views and comments about the nature of homosexuality and how much it was frowned upon. On the one hand, he wanted to be a good son and live the life that his parents would have been proud of. But on the other hand, he enjoyed living openly as a gay man. Sinaga was known as Ray to his friends. He didn't speak much about his family life or Indonesia while he was in England. He lived an openly gay life in Manchester, and he had many friends and boyfriends. His friends say that they had no knowledge of his crimes. Some had heard him described turning heterosexual men as a sport. He would boast to certain friends about his sexual misadventures, and he would often boast about those that he was later accused of raping. During Sinaga's trial, the jury was shown a text exchange in a WhatsApp group. Sinaga had said that his flatmate was moving out. His friend had replied, "You can get in lots of straight boys, darling." Sinaga responded with a photograph of his latest victim passed out. And he said, "Ha ha ha, you mean like this one?" "There's always a new one," said his friend. His friend also wrote, "Effing hell, darling, you get a different straight every week." Psychologically, this is very poignant. The underlying narrative of this is that he was turning previously straight heterosexual men to become gay. It's possible that he was demonstrating that he could have been turned himself by a gay man, and that would mean that Sinaga couldn't help being gay, that he saw himself as a helpless victim who was somehow turned gay by someone else. By targeting victims who were heterosexual and drugging them, he places himself in a more dominant position than he otherwise is. It's probably some sort of an overcompensation. It's clear that he did enjoy living an openly gay life and being accepted for who he was. However, there will almost certainly have been a part of him that wished he wasn't gay, and he could have felt a deep resentment towards these conflicting ideas. Friends had said that he was secretive about his bedroom. In 2015, after raping a 19-year-old man, Sinaga told a WhatsApp group that he'd picked up a man the previous night who'd argued with his girlfriend. He'd text, "Super A saves boys from their monstrous girlfriends." He boasted, sending a photograph of the victim. One friend had replied, "Finally, we get to see the inside of Ray's room. It was always forbidden to go behind the magic door." They said in the text exchange that he was always screaming no, it was too messy. And they also wrote in that WhatsApp group that they were joking about there being male dead bodies piling up under the bed. During the process of researching the material for this psychological analysis, I became really quite sad. I am a liberal person, and I don't see homosexuality as being wrong or odd or different. It's just that some people are born that way and others aren't. I can imagine it being a very sad moment in a person's life where they have to choose between keeping family or living life as they want to. I'm not saying that I can understand or excuse his behaviour in any way, but I can appreciate the hurt and torment that he must have felt. Sinaga lived in a flat in central Manchester, which acted as a base for his assaults. He would wait for men leaving bars and nightclubs late at night before leading them back to his flat, and then he would normally offer them somewhere to have a drink or to call a taxi. He would then give them a drink which had been drugged, and then Sinaga would assault the victims while they were unconscious and video the attacks with his mobile phone. In June 2017, an 18-year-old regained consciousness during the rape and fought off his attacker. He reported the incidents to the police, which then meant that an examination of Sinaga's 2 iPhones by the police led them to a discovery of 3.29 terabytes of digital video evidence of the assaults and the rapes. Many of his victims were traceable because Sinaga kept phones, watches, cards, etc. as trophies of his various conquests, and he'd used social media to reach his unknown victims online. Keeping small items as trophies from the victims is fairly common in serial criminals. They keep them as a prize and sometimes use them as tools to help them relive the excitement of the offence over and over again. Of course, the videos will have been used in exactly the same way as this. Many of his victims didn't know that they'd been raped. His earliest known victim in 2015 woke up the following day covered in vomit in Sinaga's flat. Sinaga had showed concern towards the man, and that man left feeling that he'd imposed on Sinaga for falling asleep in his flat. Sinaga pleaded not guilty to all charges made against him, and this meant that all of his victims had to go to court and give evidence and watch the videos and see the other evidence. In his own defence, he claimed to have been playing sex games with these other men, playing dead, in order to fulfil his fantasies. He claimed that the encounters were consensual. But that claim was later found to be false because some of the victims could be heard snoring in the videos. So even in the face of being caught, he tried to say that it was consensual and that these men knew what they were doing. He knew what he was doing was wrong, and he will have been acting out towards these other. As I mentioned earlier, I think all of Sinaga's offending would have been about the inner turmoil that he felt between wanting to be a good son and a good member of the family and live a good life as they would have wanted him to, between wanting to live as he wanted to as an openly gay man. With most serial offenders, there is a progression in seriousness of the attacks over time. And it was reported a while back that there were rumours of a canal pusher around the gay village in Manchester. Several men had been found drowned after leaving the gay village, and their deaths were ruled as an accident. The police believed that they had drowned due to misadventure. And it's entirely possible that they were pushed. In fact, many locals believe that there was a canal pusher. It could have been somebody exactly like Sinaga, who first of all wanted to act out towards gay men to get rid of his violence, to let off steam. And it's possible that he would have pushed these gay men into the canal and they've died as a result of that. And then he's gone on to escalate his behaviour to bring them back to his flat. I've not cross-checked any of the time frames on any of the people who died in the canals in Manchester. It was just more of a passing thought, really, that he could have been this so-called canal pusher in Manchester. I do hope that you've enjoyed this psychological analysis video. I do hope that you've learned something. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.